When I think of Timex, I still remember getting awestruck by the indigo lighting which used to be all the rage back then. I think I was in 5th class when my grandmother gifted me my first Timex, which was for around 1600 rupees, and that was slightly expensive. Just imagine. Bitten by the watch bug since an early age, I bought my first Timex back then, which went on to work for almost a decade. Almost 20 years later, here I am talking about another masterpiece from Timex called the Marlin. Before the story unfolds, let's look at the history of Timex watches, who are celebrating their 170th anniversary this year, dating back their formation to 1854. Waterbury Clock Company was founded in Connecticut, making it a purely homegrown American brand. With the passage of time and a couple of world wars, Thomas Olson saved the company from facing bankruptcy and bought it in 1941. He himself escaped Norway during a Nazi invasion during the Second World War. That being said, Timex name was officially adopted in 1941. By the way, do you know which watches does the Timex group also make side by side? Well, they are manufacturing watches for Versace, Guess, Salvatore Ferragamo and Nautica. So let's jump to our Timex watch for today, and that is Timex Marlin. Well, this particular watch belongs to the Viscount collection, which was highly prevalent in the 60s and the 70s, and these were essentially hand-bound mechanical watches. 2018 is when they revived the Marlin collection, when it used to come with a date window. 2022 is when they relaunched the whole Marlin collection with 2 new colors, including green and blue. And this year in 2024, they introduced 2 colors again in the form of black and salmon. Now this has a pretty vintage vibe emanating from this affordable automatic watch with the numerals in a vintage font applied at 3, 6, 9 and 12 o'clock position. A sunburst finish on the dial is quite contemporary, with silver accents on the hands and indices. Marlin Automatic is a 40mm dial with 13mm of thickness and a 46mm lug-to-lug width. Now that's a pretty compact watch, and that's what it's always been, though not very thin to say the least. Nothing too special with the stainless steel case adorned with a domed acrylic crystal. Scratches! Here I come. Slowly turning the watch will lead you to an exhibition case back with a Miyota 8215 caliber in a 21 jewel setup and a power reserve of 40 hours with an accuracy of -20 to +40 seconds a day. Safe to say it's an automatic with hacking seconds function and hand winding capability as well. Screw it over 40 times to make it fully wound. Now if you're looking to order a Marlin from the website and check their images, in one of the images where they are showing the movement, you'll find there's a word written called unadjusted. Now, what does that actually mean? The accuracy of the movement changes with a few factors like the position of the watch and the temperature changes. Ideally, the watch is tested in several orientations from 2 to 6 positions and adjusted accordingly to make it as accurate as possible. Hence, they turn out to be more expensive than the regular unadjusted ones. But you know what the catch is? When you go onto a store to buy a Timex Marlin, you wouldn't find that term unadjusted written on any of the watches. So are these watches adjusted or unadjusted? Let me know in the comments below. Now we could actually do a whole video on adjusted, unadjusted and regulated watches. So if you're looking to watch videos like this, follow us on Instagram, give us a like on YouTube so that you know what content is coming out when. The next important thing to discuss here is the strap. Now the blue and the green Marlins use a leather strap sourced from SB Foot Tanning Company, while the black and the salmon Marlins have natural leather straps sourced from Leather Working Group. Now Leather Working Group is an organization which provides certificates to leather manufacturers, traders, subcontractors and commissioning agents after auditing and assessing the impact of leather production on the environment. So maybe one step closer to a greener earth. Overall, this particular watch fits pretty well on my 7-inch wrist, and 40mm case sizes are standard these days. The water resistance is just a mild 50 meters, which is ironic for a watch that's named Marlin, which is a fish. You can also find the loom on the sword-shaped hands and in the form of small dots at the edge of indices. The Marlin collection is priced for 16,495 or approximately $200, and that's a home run for Timex. Well, if you look back into the past, Timex actually came into the limelight to counter the Japanese and European supremacy in the watchmaking industry. They actually made multiple innovations to have a higher accuracy, more water resistance, higher battery life, and using fewer parts to make their quartz movements, thereby saving production time and costs. Well, that's what a Timex actually is. A cheap American watch, but not so cheap for folks back in the Orient. The resurgence of the Marlin collection, including their automatics and the chronographs, have actually kept watch enthusiasts and the community busy this year. And the upside being their pricing. The sub 20,000 range is actually quite crucial for an affordable buyer, especially when Seiko watches are inching out of this category. I mean, a true competitor to the Timex could be Alba watches, which Seiko has recently gone ballistic with. Whereas Alba watches are mainly Seiko designs with lower specifications. So ideally, not many true watchmakers have an automatic at this price point. On the contrary, you have loads of micro brands that you could go for even half the price of what a Timex Marlin costs. But out of the whole lot, Timex survives above all with their Marlin collection. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the rest of their collection because a lot of folks have started preferring automatics over quartz. But that debate is for another time. So are you convinced to buy the Marlin, or you want to rest in peace with any other micro brand in your hand? I rest my case while it's time for you to subscribe. What are you wearing today?